I had a wonderful time in Sweden with my peers. I think it was such a great once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to witness in person the stark differences between the United States and Sweden, a social welfare country. Before going to this trip, I expected to learn a lot about how their HRM focus in the workplace affects the different aspects of their lives. I had heard so much about their great work-life balance. I assumed that there would be no flaws in their system and that no worker had complaints. I also assumed that this would be a great culture shock when I got there and that it would take a long time to adjust to. Having never been outside the country, I tried to keep an open mind about the potential day-to-day living experiences such as language barriers, cuisine differences, fashion, and demeanor. Once we were in country, I realized that many of my assumptions had held some truth while others were flat out false. Everyone spoke English, which really surprised me. This made it really easy to get around and immerse ourselves in the culture because the language barrier had been removed. As for the cultural shock, I believe it wasn't as grand as I thought it was going to be. As we went around shopping and exploring the cities, there were many things that were recognizable and common in the US, such as the music that was played in restaurants and stores, familiar establishments such as H&M, 7-Eleven, Starbucks, and there was even a Pizza Hut. So while it was easy to point out the differences in the fundamental societal values, it was really cool to go to Sweden and see that there was a lot of familiar things that we have in the US as well. The biggest assumption I had going into this experience that remained true was their great work-life balance. Every person we talked to during our visits all had great things to say about their extensive maternity and paternity leave, as well as the grand emphasis they place on time off and the importance of mental health, and even the daily little fika breaks they had. The main concept I learned in the realm of HRM is the importance of a good work-life balance and how those benefits trickle down into the employer's life and how a healthy work environment can improve one's overall living quality. Many of the companies we visited, especially Volvo, Husqvarna, and even the lectures at Jönköping and Gothenburg universities, really took great effort to explain why they have such an emphasis on work-life balance. One of the presenters put it best when they said Americans live to work, while Swedes work to live. That statement really resonated with me, and I think it does a great job highlighting the differences in our fundamental cultural values. Oftentimes in America, it seems that work is the center of our lives and everything we do outside of work needs to be squeezed in so we miss as little work as possible. Whereas in Sweden, with all the time they are allotted off, they have put a focus on getting as much work done as they can between taking time for themselves and enjoying family. Some of the specific HRM policies that stood out to me was the mental health services that some of the Swedish companies provide their employees. Employees are able to seek out mental health professionals free of charge to ensure that they are maintaining a healthy mental state, in which return that increases productivity, which is good for business. Another policy that stood out to me was, of course, the maternity and paternity leave. This is such a wonderful policy that they have in place to encourage the parent-child bond. Moving forward, I'll be sure that wherever I work, I will place more emphasis on the whole person, especially the mental health component of my employees, because as this experience in Sweden has taught me, that work should not be the center of one's life. And therefore, even though we must work to earn a living, the workplace should be an enjoyable and a welcoming environment. I will forever cherish the memories and lifelong friends I've made through this experience and highly recommend future HPA students to take part in this wonderful opportunity as well.